Good morning, everybody. Good morning. If you're watching on the Radiant Books Facebook group, or if you are on the Zoom or about to jump on the Zoom live with us, hello, good morning. It's Leanne Clune here. Hi, Jay.
Good morning. How are you? Good.
It's what day are we up to of the festival now? We're just rocking it.
Day five today.
Day 5. Wow. And I have been having a ball. How about you, Sashua?
Definitely. I've been able to get to a few of the masterclasses. I've been watching them, the recordings in the group. And yeah, it's just been fabulous just to see everyone putting their magic out there. And I've found that a lot of people have been reaching out personally after they've watched the recordings just to share their insights and what they got out of it. That's been fantastic.
I have too, and I've had a lot of other people that are saying, I caught some of your replay in the Facebook group and I'm going to go back to it because it was brilliant. And, you know, not just for myself, but for all of the authors. So we are getting a lot of traction out there, which is fantastic. That's what the festival's all about and one of our huge intentions of the festival. So
yes,
go us.
Definitely.
I am going to be presenting today to you about conscious cash flow. It's one of my favorite topics. I have spent 17 years working with money, and I actually have always had an innate, really good ability with money. Ever since I was little, and I see that I think my children have just inherited that, whether it's in the DNA or what, but they're very much, you know, they're very much like me with it. And I know money can get quite boring, the whole topic of it, but I just bring a different perspective to it, and I love it. So we all need it, let's face it, whether we like that or not. So let's see if we can get the slides up.
We sure can.
Awesome. If you're jumping on, say hi in the chat or put in the comments, hi, replay, let me know where you are calling in from. I just would like to remind you that I'm on the beautiful Gold Coast. It's an absolutely fabulous day out there as always, and very blessed here. Beautiful weather. So I'd love to know where you are all from. Welcome everybody. And I'm super excited to present this today. So we might get started, and make sure if you jump on late, then rewind back to the start, because there are a lot of gold nuggets in this one. So welcome everybody. It's Leanne Clune. I'm going to be presenting my masterclass on conscious cash flow, igniting your inner creative, energetic millionaire. Whew, how good does that sound?
Sounds amazing. And so amazing. I would be delighted if I could introduce you, Leanne, just so everyone can get to know a bit about you.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So Leanne is an international best-selling author, conscious cash flow coach, and CEO and facilitator of the Radiant series of collaboration books. She mentors visionary leader entrepreneurs to catapult their visibility, impact, and to leave a legacy. She has helped hundreds of clients save millions of dollars collectively. Her experience led her to see the limitations in the traditional finance system, particularly for women. This led her to create several cash flow transformation programs, including Creative Energetic Millionaires. Leanne lives with her husband and 3 sons on one beautiful acre of tropical paradise in the Gold Coast hinterland. And I have had the great delight, Leanne, of working with you particularly closely over the last few months, having been an author in your first Radiant book, Visionary Women, Igniting the Light in Others, and also in our collaboration project in our ongoing books with Radiant. And Goodness, Leanne, I have come to know you as one of the most genuine people I have ever met. You have such a zest and belief in life that life is meant to be profound and magical and expansive. And that is how I believe you live. You are constantly curious, constantly growing, tapping into the universe in profound ways. And it's just inspiring to be around you. So I'm super excited for your masterclass today.
Thank you so much, Sasha. I've got goosebumps all over with that. And yeah, I do believe that I am here to lead and lead by example. So that's one of the strong things that I've got from my intuition. I don't so much need to, present tons and tons of classes and things like that, even though this masterclass is amazing. But I do live my life in alignment, and it's powerful to be, it's an inspiration to people when they see people saying, I'm going to do this, and you just do it. So that's what I do. All right, can we get this? Yep, okay, next slide, thank you. So we're going to start with what on earth is a creative, energetic millionaire? So when you think of the word millionaire, what immediate thoughts pop into your mind? Is it fancy cars, mansions, high-end fashion? Or is it conscious business owners who are aligned, spiritual, and philanthropic? There is a new type of millionaire rising. They are becoming abundant by living their true purpose. They ignite the light in others and create a ripple effect of positive impact in the world. They are not your stereotypical millionaires. Some of them do not have $1 million in the physical yet, but they sure do hold it in the energetic space. This is the space from where everything is birthed. They operate from the soul level, and their abundance comes from all 5 areas, including health, wealth, wisdom, consciousness, and business. These visionaries are led by their intuition or creative energetic space. They are deeply tuned into themselves and the world around them. They acknowledge there is no purpose of mass wealth without the health to enjoy it. They are the creative, energetic millionaires. The creative, energetic millionaires live differently. They always speak their truth. They attract aligned opportunities magnetically just by showing up as themselves. And I see them as the way showers and the visionaries who can see in the dark. Next slide. I just got Sasha doing slides here, so I had a technical issue. So I wanted to start off with a little exercise to help clarify where you are now on your journey to becoming a creative, energetic millionaire. So we're looking at all 5 areas and not just money. Now on your journey to be. So I want you to come into the present and just take a few really long, slow, deep breaths. And can we have the next slide, please, Sasha? Oops, the next one, sorry. Next one. Oh. Is there one that says the 5 areas, the health, wealth, wisdom, consciousness, and business? Otherwise, we'll just go back, sorry. No, okay, no worries. We'll stick with that one. Yeah, stick with that one. Oh. Okay, so I want you to think about the 5 areas that the creative, energetic millionaires have really nailed And they are, write it down on your piece of paper: health, wealth, wisdom, consciousness, and business. So I want you to write that down. And I want you just to really feel into each one of those areas. Feel into your health and give it a score. Where do you feel you're at with your health? On a score of 1 out of 10. Where do you feel you're at with that? And where do you feel you're at with your wealth at the moment? On a score of 1 to 10. Feel into your wisdom. Where do you feel you're at with your wisdom? 1 to 10. Your consciousness. Feel into your consciousness, 1 to 10. And your business or your work, 1 to 10. Has everyone got that? Might just come back to the screen.
Yep, got that.
How did you go with that, Sashua?
So loved those 5 categories, first of all, just to really feel into what does it actually mean. Like, I just love these words, creative, energetic millionaire. Like, never heard those words before. And, you know, they just bubble up so much excitement in me. So when I tuned into each of those 5 categories, you know, what was really interesting for me is that for wisdom, consciousness, and business, I had all pretty high scores.
Yeah.
I'm never going to give myself a 10 out of 10 because there's always room for growth, and I feel very excited about that. So that was really good. But my lower scores were around health and wealth, which is like the planetary stuff, the physical plane experience of that. So it's like I've set the scene to be a creative, energetic millionaire, but there's something stopping me from realizing that on the planet.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Makes sense?
Yeah. Jay, are you available to share?
Yes.
I think you're muted. Oh.
Unmute. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. I was really connecting with what Sashua was saying, was that the connection of what's going on in my mind and my energetic being and how it shows up in the real world. Health, I would normally describe as my health being incredibly high. Very, very aware of my health, and, you know, a reflection of great health most of the time. And then I broke my toe 6 weeks ago. And it's had a profound effect on my ability to exercise, my ability to do yoga, ability to do many things that create my health. So I'm acutely aware of how in a couple of weeks, when this boot is off, I will actually make health my absolute priority, because I am of the belief if you don't have your health, you have very little. Because it doesn't matter how much money you've got, if you don't have your health, you just, you know, everything else. You spend your money, actually, and we are in very much that case, where you spend your money maintaining your health or having to create new health.
Yes, true. And that's why it's over the 5 areas. It's not just about money as such. It's so much deeper than that, because there's a lot of unhappy billionaires on the planet. They are extremely depressed, but I'm going to get into that a bit later. Thank you for sharing, everybody. And if you're on the Radiant Books Facebook, be happy to write in the comments, follow along. If you're on the replay, #replay, and I'll come back to the comments later on. So, okay, let's move on. So that exercise gives us a snapshot of where we are now. We need to know where we are now so we know what areas need to shift the most. And as a personal story, I've worked with hundreds of clients over the last 17 years in the financial services industry. I've saved them incredible amounts of money, generally $500 to $2,000 per month, by strategically restructuring their debts. And my work in this space is incredibly powerful and it's life-changing. However, I noticed over the years, a lot of my clients would come back to me several years after I had sorted them out. They had pattern repeated and got themselves into a stressful financial position again, particularly with their cash flow, because that's what I always focused on. So they would give me an SOS call and almost saw me as a magician who could magically fix them. And some would actually say, Leanne, I need you to fix me up again. That would be the first sentence when I picked up the phone to them. So I became frustrated at first. And then I became fascinated with what was actually really going on here. I had trained and was qualified in traditional finances. We didn't delve into a lot of the energetics, or none of it really. We delved into a little bit of the psychology, but it was mainly looking at the numbers and the surface level. So I became really fascinated, and I acknowledged that my work was really powerful, and I'd only ever work with a client if I could help them significantly. And if I couldn't, I was always upfront and honest about that with the client. However, it did seem to me that my traditional finance work was not changing people from the core. So it was a surface change. It was not holistic and it was not sustainable. So I threw myself into researching the connections and the answer to this, as I felt it was my mission to deeply and completely help people with this holistic transformation. The huge missing key was my clients needed to shift energetically, not just their bank balance and the numbers on the screen or the numbers on their statements. They needed to shift from within themselves energetically. So I was shifting the money around on the surface, but they were not making the deep, profound energetic shifts to sustain that. So meanwhile, I was working energetically on myself constantly. I had 2 incredible world-renowned healers right near my office. I had an office in Western Australia, in Mundaring in Western Australia, in the hills area. And I would go and see them, once a fortnight at least. And the shifts that I created from those sessions were so fast and so profound. It's why I just kept going. It rocketed my business extremely quickly. So they built my business faster than any other type of traditional coaching or anything similar. And mind you, I had some amazing coaches in my business as well. So as a whole, we have so many limited beliefs, patterns that don't serve us, and negative thoughts about money. We all want to crack our first $1 million in our business, right? Like we all want that, but have you actually broken it down and looked at it strategically? When I first did this, I was really shocked. Can we have the next slide, Sasha, please? Oh, next one. Yeah. So I want you to, I'm interested in your responses to this. If I have $1, how many times do I need to double that $1 to get to $1 million? Now, I just want you to tell me what you think. Put it in the comments, in the chat, shout it out if you're on the Zoom. How many times do you think I need to double $1 to get to $1 million? Any takers of any guesses?
My guess is 1,000. I have no idea. Just right, put it out there.
Awesome. Jay?
I know it's not 1,000. I know it's not a lot. I think it's about 40 times. It's not a lot, I know, because I've done the exercise before.
Okay, and it's very interesting. Sasha, your mind's going to be blown.
I know, and I'm looking forward to that.
I feel like a drum roll. It is not a lot. Drum roll, next slide.
Oh.
It's 20 times.
Wow. Wow.
It's only 20 times. And I know that that's a little bit hard to see on that slide, but I've got all the calculations there for you. You know, that's all it is.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? That actually blew my mind when I found that out, and it really helped to put it in perspective of it's not really that far away.
Yeah.
Really. It's only doubling $1 20 times.
Yeah.
And you can progress and start with, a lot more than $1 and cut out a whole heap of steps there.
Yeah.
So how does that make you feel when you find that it's only doubling $1 20 times?
For me, that feels amazing. And what I'm really noticing, and it's so good that you've got that calculation on the slide, because what I'm recognizing is it's like the first half of that journey seems like a struggle. Like it's just little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit. And then all of a sudden, halfway through, you start to crack it.
Yep.
And then it doubles and then the difference is exponential.
Yeah.
So it's got that feeling of like, hang in there, it's coming, it's changing, it's evolving,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, it felt like that is just so achievable.
Yeah.
I only have to double $1 20 times. That's easy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like initially you're saying 1,000 times, Sasha, and I know that a lot of us would have this huge number in our head, of course, because that's how you think of it. But when it comes down to 20, it's like, well, it's not really that hard. It can't be that hard. I only have to double it 20 times.
Yeah, that's it.
So that brings me to, we need to shift our perceptions around large sums of money.
So true.
We've been conditioned to not even think that way about large. I'm talking, generally.
Yeah.
So if we go to the next slide, is on shifting, I think. The quickest and easiest way to shift our perception around money and cash flow is to work on our energy. This is a complete massive course on its own, but I wanted to go through some of my preferred ways that I've used to shift my energy around this. And it comes the need to shift our energy around money comes as we up level. So it's a cycle. It's not something that you just do once, of course. It's ongoing work as you up level your business, your income from work, or however you want to do that. So I'm going to do a visualization and let's see what comes out of this. So I want you to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths again. And I want you to imagine that you're sitting in your lounge room of your house and you're very relaxed. And in the right-hand corner of your lounge room, just next to your TV, the main if you don't have a TV, the main focus of your lounge room, whatever that is. I just thought of that. I don't really watch TV.
So am I on mute? I'm not now. I am mute. Sorry.
So the right-hand corner of your lounge room is an ATM, an automatic teller machine. And every time you need money for anything at all, you just walk up to that ATM and you just draw it out. You pop in the amount that you want and poof, it comes out like magic. You need some groceries, you go to your ATM, get out the money, go and do your groceries. Bill comes in, go to your ATM, get out the money. You have no stress over cash flow at all in your life. It's unlimited and you have an absolute abundance of money for whatever you choose. I want you to really feel into this ATM and this money and being able to get it whenever you like. And I want you to write down on your paper, how does this feel? Just write down whatever flows through. Because I'm feeling pretty excited about my ATM. If you're on the replay, hashtag replay, how does it feel to have your ATM? It's got unlimited money in it. Never runs out. Whatever you need, whatever you want, the money's there. You just go to it, plug it in, pull it out. How does it feel? Who wants to do some sharing?
Yeah, I'm happy to share. So one, what a great exercise. I've so got that picture of it on my wall now. Like, that picture's not going anywhere anytime soon because it's indelibly printed in there now.
I should sell ATM posters.
That's it. But I can see it in the brickwork and everything.
Yep.
Like, it's very detailed.
There.
And obviously it felt amazing. That really interestingly, the experience I had of that is that it felt, the words I wrote down were solid, doable. I felt very grateful that I could literally just walk up and, kind of have it as a respected resource was the other word that I wrote down. So I had the amazing, excited feeling in the beginning, but then it very quickly got grounded and it's there. That's amazing. And now use it in a respectful way type feeling.
Great.
Which I thought was really interesting.
It is. Jay, how did you find that? I don't know if she's there. Actually.
There we go. No, I am here.
Yep.
I'm actually doing things at the moment, so I don't have a pen and paper. I'm out in my garden actually, so I'm enjoying that, which is in my world a very large representative of financial stability. I feel I've done a lot of work in the financial space And the way you're putting things out there, Leanne's really lovely. It's just lovely. Quite unusual and yeah, very personal too. I love the idea of the ATM. I'm sorry, I laughed at the TV.
Well, I just thought it when I said it. I was like, well, not everyone has TV, especially now. Yeah.
No, that's true. So I'm very grateful for money and what it represents in my life, and it allows me to be generous. It allows me stability. What else does it allow me? It allows the fact that I can actually share my gifts without having an impact on my life directly. So I understand, from a consciousness level, the idea of green is very money motivated, but it's not just money. It's actually the abundance flow. So that's what the ATM represents to me: abundance and flow of money, and the ability to then, if other people are in need, to be able to give to them very generously and willingly. Yes.
It's a very expansive feeling, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So who wants their own personal ATM?
Yes, please.
Hands up. Thought so. Okay. So to shift energetically fast, we need to feel those feelings now before we have our ATM in our lounge room. And as often as possible, it then magnetically draws to us. So I want you to write down as many things you can think of that you can do to activate those feelings that you wrote down in the visualization, to activate them now. So for example, with my ATM, I feel very joyful and excited and grateful. So what can I do now to activate those feelings in me now to draw the abundance in quicker and shift my energy towards more of that? Things that bring me joy and happiness and gratefulness: going to the beach and spending time with my kids, spending time in nature. There's things that we can do that don't cost any money to bring about those feelings, and they're high vibrational feelings. We can move into them and shift ourselves energetically. So while you're in this space, write down as many things as you can think of that you can do to shift yourself energetically. And we want this to become a routine that we do every day or several times a day. Now, some of the things may just be simple, and obviously, like, you may not be able to get to the beach several times a day, depending on where you live. But one of the things that I do as well is I've got a crystal and a little tuning fork, and I just bang it. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
But I bang it, and it's a very high vibrational. It's frequency 4096, it says, and it clears the energy, and it really brings me back to the present. So have a think about what things you can do. And we're on to the next slide now, Sasha. Sorry about this, everyone, but my screen share wasn't working, so Sasha was helping me with the slides. Once you're in the routine of doing the energetic work and clearing out your resistance and consistently making improvements daily, you start to get into alignment and flow. So creative, energetic millionaires show up in the world as their true, authentic selves. They remember who they are on every level. They know their purpose and are on their soul mission for this lifetime. They've spent many years healing themselves and recognize this is ongoing daily work. It is not a healing here and there. It is a way of living. They understand their bodies and what they are required to do to maintain optimal health. They're aware of the right food combinations and exercise routines for them. There's no right or wrong with this, like it is for your own self. In business, they acknowledge everything is a co-creation with the universe. The creative, energetic millionaires intuitively know when they are in alignment or not with projects. Equally important, the projects they birth are so much bigger than themselves. They create a wide impact for humanity as a whole. Their best work is done when they are in a place of stillness and flow with everything that is. They know themselves and are aware of their most productive working hours. They actively disengage in being in hyperdrive or in a state of extreme busyness. They know that this is unsustainable and an unproductive state, which eventually leads to adrenal fatigue and burnout. So being in flow is being in alignment. You know when everything seems to go your way, easily and effortlessly. We want more of that, right? Who wants more of that? Who wants more flow?
Yep.
Absolutely. I love flow. Type flow in the chat or type flow in the comments if you want more of that in your life. So to connect into that deeply, we really need to know ourselves intrinsically. And following our intuition is a crucial part of this. Our higher self knows exactly what we need and how to get it. We don't need to know the how though at the time. Okay, so our higher self knows what to do. So I remember back 10 years ago, and my mum planned to celebrate her 60th birthday in Paris. She traveled around Europe for 7 weeks. She was going to be in Paris smack bang on her 60th birthday. And when she told me of her plans, I knew I had to go and meet her over there. But I had no idea of the how. I had 2 young kids, was establishing my finance business, and my husband worked full time. The intuition to fly over to Paris to meet mum for a week seemed insane, as a lot of my ideas are. It's like the crazy ones that follow their intuition. All that traveling for only 1 week. But the urge to go, it literally got stronger and stronger and stronger. I committed and told mum of my plans. She was ecstatic as my dad never made it to age 60. This gave me even more drive to get there and really celebrate in style with mum, because I was really doing it for mum and dad. I made the decision, and my next client I had was a travel agent. I had never done finance for a travel agent before. This is the sort of stuff that happens when you are in alignment and you listen, and I was blown away by the synchronicities. I then got a finance deal that gave me the exact enough money to cover the airfares and accommodation. Before I told my husband of my insane plans, because he was going to be the one at home with the kids, he came up to me and said he wanted to go on a week-long camping and motorbiking trip with some of his mates. And I just thought, beautiful, now's my time. And I said, oh, that sounds great. Yep, no worries. And I just blurted out, I want to go to Paris and meet mum in September. And it all just flowed from there. And it was hilarious, actually, because his mates said to him, hang on a minute, you get to go 100 Ks away and she gets to go to Paris? Like, you just got done, mate. But we both got what we wanted, so It was all good. So I want you to think of a time where you really desperately wanted something. You wanted it with every cell in your body and you knew you had to have it. Come hell or high water, you were having it. I want you to go back there in your mind and write down what it was. You didn't know how you were going to get it, but you knew you wanted it. So I can think of a few things. For me, it was the Paris one was a good example, but it was also this piece of jewelry that I wanted. And there's many examples when you think back over your life. So I want you to go back and think about that and think about what were the series of events that led you to making it happen. Let's give you some time to write that down. Welcome to play along if you are in the Radiant Books Facebook group. Can write in the comments. #replay.
We've got Laura Doe commenting and Kuvi has just jumped on.
Hi,
So
Laura Doe,
a few
Kubi.
people there.
Jump in, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about your experiences. How are you going, Sashua and Jay?
Great.
Are you ready to share, Sashua?
Yeah, I am. So I just love the feeling of that Paris story that you told, because when you tell the story, then of course it evokes the feelings in me to really search back and see, well, what times have I had that? So the one that came to me was when I was really wanting to expand my solo business. So I've been in business for many years, but I started another solo business, a few years ago.
Yeah.
And, I needed a new website. I wanted to do coaching programs to up-level my skills. I needed photos done, like all of those. The works, like it was a total overhaul, my branding and new logo and everything. And just at that time, I was doing other projects as well. So various things invested in various different departments. And I really wanted to manifest some money. And at that time, I had just started dabbling in shares. Yeah. And I really knew very little about them. And it just so happened that on the day that I showed up at a new coaching program and committed to a new website, the very day the shares went through the roof. And I hit the sold button and manifested all the money that I needed for all of those things.
Oh, wow.
It was on the day. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. I'd only been at this event for like an hour and a message came through. I was like, holy shit, this happened like right here, right now, because I committed.
Yeah.
I committed to those changes happening. I committed, heart and soul. The feelings that I wrote down were determined, heart and soul, focused on my bigger picture and what I was here to deliver to the world, asking the universe for backing. Like I was just super focused and, like you said, in flow.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I love it. That's such a great story. Thank you for sharing that. I wonder if anyone's in the Facebook group with comments.
I haven't seen, I've got it on my phone. I haven't seen any come through yet.
All right. Are you able to share, Jay, or are you not around now?
I'm on the phone. I'm happy to share. I'll reference this property as the manifestation of a dream for both my partner and I.
Yeah.
And the timing that it came about. We viewed the property last year, just around COVID, and I had just lost a very large amount of money in a business that had to be shut down because of COVID. In fact, 2 businesses that shut down. And I can remember saying to my partner, we were driving around Bonogan, and we'd been to have a look at a property that we were looking to do some work at. And I said, oh, no, I'm not interested. I don't like the guy, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, well, we're here for a reason. And I said, yeah, but I want to go. I was upset. And, he said, no, we're here. There's something about this place that I'm really picking up on. And I said, okay, well, let's, drive around, grumpy as ever, grumpy. And we just kept driving around the streets, and I'm, and we got to the top of the street that we now live in, and we've been looking for a property for 6 years.
Wow.
So, that was, the right sort of energy, the right sort of place, somewhere we could live and operate the business from, so we had a number of conditions that the property actually met. And we got to the top of the driveway, and there were 2 very large ceramic fish at the top of the driveway, and my partner's a Pisces. And I took a look at him and said, oh dear. And he said, what does that mean? I said, I think we found it. So we didn't even look at the house. We just felt the energy of the property. And I said, how are we going to do this? He said, don't worry about it. It'll work. That don't worry about it thing. That we hear often.
Don't need to know the how.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Don't worry about the how. We'll get there. Well, we put an offer in. We looked at it. We had to do some negotiation with the owner. And we managed to pull it off. But, boy, it was a battle at times because of some of our views around money and where we've got some of it placed. And we're not traditionalists. So that probably says enough about it than anything else. My partner's an ex-finance broker too, so he was big in the game. So and that was really about it. And we just had to. We'd come out to the property, and because we had a very, very long settlement, and we'd come out, and I would just visualize us being here. And we didn't have access to the house, but we had access to the garden. So I would just walk around and pick bits out of the garden and say, I'll be back. And as I said, we're now here unpacking and creating an exciting new home and life and new business too. So
beautiful.
That's my story about manifestation.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing, Jay. Appreciate that. And if you're on the replay, #replay, tell us your story. I'm fascinated by the stories. I love this. So the moral of this story is that is your proof. You've done it before, and you can do it again, and you can do it for anything. Okay, so just know that there would be no one that hasn't done this before. Can we have the next slide, please, Sashwa? And
can I make a point here, Leanne?
What's that?
You said that we've done it before. Well, the reality is we're manifesting all the time.
Yes, yeah. We are, but we sometimes, anyway, I'll keep going on. It's true. So we have done it before. We are manifesting all the time. And what gets in the way? Because we're not always manifesting what we want. The thing that gets in the way is our resistance. The only thing that is in the way of where we are now to where we want to be is our resistance. And our resistance comes in many forms. And again, this is another huge course of its own. So I'm just scratching the surface of all of this today. So I want to delve a little bit into resistance and how we recognize it. And recognizing your dominant form of resistance is super powerful. As recognizing it, it's important to recognize it to be able to move it and shift it and clear it. So before we delve into that, I want to give you an example. I recognized several years ago that my resistance shows up in me getting sick. So I'd be ticking along in awesome flow for a while in my business and life, and then I would get sick. And I would get sick and I would stop and lose all of the momentum I had gained. And I know it's important to rest when we get sick, of course. And I absolutely acknowledge that. And depending on the severity of the illness, depends on the amount of time we take out as well. But I had this happen when I up-leveled into stepping into my publishing company at the start of this year. I ended up with pneumonia, so it was a big one. And so did two of my kids. And it was a really horrendous time to be so unwell, especially with a respiratory disorder when everything that was happening around the world. People were not looking upon us favorably when we were coughing our lungs up. Not that we were out much at all, but we could not stop coughing. And we sounded terrible. So I could hardly get out of bed for about 3 weeks, and it was a really slow recovery from there. My work was piling up and everything was snowballing. And I decided to do one thing each day to move the needle forward in my publishing company. It didn't matter how small it was, and this is hard for an overachiever like myself. It's hard to bring it back down to one thing a day. I wanted to do 100 things a day. But even if it was just a post on Facebook, I just consistently started making sure that I did one thing a day to move the needle forward. And that was my mantra: one thing a day, move the needle forward. Then as I got better, I had not lost 100% of my momentum, and it was a lot easier to get back on the trajectory of the publishing company. Now, resistance will normally hit at 2 critical points when you're starting anything new. You'll find that you have your own unique resistance set point. It's really common. Oh, I think it's the next slide, Sasha, too. Resistance is really common to come in when you are 20 to 30% into a new project or a new business, whatever it may be. Even, a new gym routine, new exercise routine, new nutrition routine. Or it's very common to hit when you're 80% in, and these are the people that start things and never finish them because they hit resistance. So I wanted to take some time to reflect on this. This was a huge life changer for me to recognize my resistance and the characteristics around it. I want you to write on your piece of paper, what does resistance look like for you? I talked about sickness. I'd get a cold, I'd get a sinus infection, I'd get a flu, I'd get a sore throat, I get a headache. Just resistance to me in my life has been in the form of sickness. Not really bad sickness, but enough to slow me down and sabotage, create a sabotaging pattern. So what does resistance look like for you? I've noticed in some people that have kids, they will go along for a while and then they'll switch their focus solely to their children, and it's kind of like a sabotaging pattern, and they will go, oh well, this is happening with my kids, so I can't do that now because I've got to do the kids. But it really, when you delve in deep, it's coming from a place of resistance most of the time. So I'm interested some more of your resistance patterns might appear to you over the next few weeks or months now that we've talked about it. So they might not all come up at once, but it's very, very powerful to recognize resistance. And I've just been through it this morning with my 14-year-old. He went into resistance. He's in Western Australia at the moment. He went into resistance about flying back home tonight. And I've just talked him through it because I recognize that it's resistance and I know his patterns and everything like that. And he's totally fine. And he's excited to come back home now. How's everyone going with that?
Yeah, I can share.
Yeah, great.
So, wow, some great insights there. I can relate to the 20 to 30 and the 80.
Yeah.
I also, from the past, can recognize procrastination in even starting.
Yeah.
Particularly on the big ticket items that were really going to create change.
Yeah.
You know, and you end up just focusing on the little trivial things and thinking you're making progress, but you're missing the big ticket things that are going to change your life. You know?
Totally.
So my resistance is around taking on too much, which is purely self-inflicted.
I do that too.
And therefore working long hours. And it's filling it with all the fillers though. You know, the long hours, it's filling it with all the fillers rather than focusing on eating the frog. I love the term eating the frog, you know, the most important thing that you've got to eat. So then, you know, it goes into a bit of a cycle of getting disheartened. And then I only want to do the fun, creative stuff. And I leave, and all the other stuff mounts, which over time then makes the problem bigger. So good to see the cycle.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And I love that. Do one thing each day to move the needle forward.
Oh,
that is just absolute pearl of wisdom there, because it's so true. Just keep chipping, no matter how big it is, just keep chipping away at it.
Yep. One sentence on Facebook, you know, one post, one picture. It doesn't have to be big.
Yeah.
And that intuitively came to me. It was like the 1% rule, like improve yourself 1% per day or per week or whatever. And then over a year, if 1% per day is 365%, you know, over a year, and you've totally exponentially improved yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Sasha. I appreciate that. Jay, are you able to share? Give Jay a minute to see if.
No, I'm just about to get in the car, so I can't. But I understand the one thing a day very well, and it's a mantra for me, particularly when I feel my own resistance come up.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And I'm not sure if there's any comments in the Facebook group, but we might keep moving forward in the interest of time as well.
Sure.
Okay. So we're on to the next slide. And that's a huge one, just to know your resistance. Oh, this is my favorite slide. Abundance.
Yes.
So lastly, I want to talk about abundance and living in the space of abundance. So we've fast forwarded and we've shifted in each of our 5 areas: the health, the wealth, the wisdom, the consciousness, and the business. And we are rocking it. We are in abundance across all of those 5. We've worked through our resistance, acknowledging that it's a cycle and it can hit again. It doesn't mean that once you do some work that it's never going to pop up again. It will pop up again. So it is a cycle. There's no magic pill, and it's just a matter of continuously working through the process and moving upwards in your trajectory. Going back to our lounge room ATM, she's in full swing now. She's fully stocked and the cash is flowing abundantly. We have more than we need to meet all of our living expenses and so many extras. There are shiny things in there too that we can purchase if we want, effortlessly. We don't have to stress about it. It's really important when you have all of the money flowing to still have purpose and connection to a higher vision. Otherwise, what do you do with your life? You can have abundant money flowing in so you don't actually have to go to work. Watching Netflix all day on the couch wears thin after a while.
Yeah.
I know it can be hard to believe, but there are a lot of extremely financially wealthy, like I'm talking billionaires, who are depressed, extremely depressed, under constant care of a therapist, and they're disconnected and they have no purpose in their life. So they're not a creative, energetic millionaire because they've only got it, they've nailed the wealth component, but they haven't nailed the other components. And who would want that, right? What's the point of that? And that brings back to what Jay was saying before. So I want you to imagine that you're in a place where you have unlimited health, wealth, wisdom, consciousness, and business. With unlimited funds and the rest of those four, you can choose to serve the world at an extremely high level. You can afford to buy the help and whatever is needed. You just go to your ATM. You can step into your higher mission on this planet and create the massive change that you want to see. Can we have the next slide, please? So I want you to feel into that and ask yourself, what are you doing and how are you serving the world? How are you going there with that question?
I think I could reflect on that one for a while.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's one to come back to, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great question to ask. And I am very much about, being of service to others. And it was just so fantastic just to have a few moments to check in on that. And the first thing that came through for me was, clarifying my own wisdom, refining it constantly. I'm very much a believer in being a student of the universe always. Doesn't matter, how much of a deep dive any of us have done. And I've been very deep diving for, over 20 years now. So, but I know there's more. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And that's a beautiful space to be.
Yeah.
So I am very passionate about sharing my wisdom. I really see it as channeling from the universe. So it's more keeping my energy clear so that I can be that channel, and to be the best vibration of energy possible. And then I got not overthinking things, trying new things, not getting bogged down, just getting messages out there, just getting pearls of wisdom out there, and just see who it lands for, and if it sparks inspiration in someone on any one day, then fantastic. That's all about, me serving the world. And right now I'm just hearing and continuing the coaching programs that I do, and, all those ways that my guidance and the universe are giving me to, be of service in different ways, whether it's a one-on-one interaction, whether it's a group interaction, like to not be afraid of anything, because I know the universe has my back.
Awesome. I love that. Beautiful insights.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to end on this note because as I said, I'm just scratching the surface with all this, and I feel like I've given a lot of information, but it's just it's the tip of the iceberg. It really is. I love this work. I'm so passionate about it. It's absolutely life-changing. And I hope that you enjoyed my masterclass, everyone watching it live or on the replay. And if you resonate with my masterclass and my messages, I encourage you to reach out and contact me. You can, reach out via Messenger. You can message on the Radiant books, or you can always get me at my email, Leanne at leanneclune.com.au. And my website is www.leanneclune.com.au. I keep things pretty simple. As long as you know my name, you can find me.
Yeah.
So I hope that you've all enjoyed it, and really wanted to end on this note to keep you in that creative, energetic millionaire space. It's a space of unlimited possibilities, and, we can work towards our work before we've got all the millions of dollars. Like, it's totally fine. It doesn't mean we have to wait to get there, but it is a beautiful cycle of realizing deeply how we work ourselves and overcoming our resistances, shifting ourselves, being aware, listening to our intuition, and just living the best life that we possibly can for ourselves and those around us, and serving in a really deep, profound way. So I'm going to end on that note. Thank you for being here. And
beautiful. Thank you so much, Leanne. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was just such a creative way at looking at this topic.
Yeah.
And there are so many people out there talking about this stuff, but not dealing with it on an energetic level. So I feel really kind of excited and curious to explore that a lot more, just looking at it from that fresh, energetic perspective. Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to stop the stream and the record now. So I'll just say bye, everyone. Thank you for coming. And I hope to touch base with you. Whoever resonates, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to have a chat, to offer a 15-minute, 20-minute consultation on the phone, to have a chat to see if I've got anything that may be able to help you or resonate with you. Okay, bye.